Tonight on Debate Amongst Friends, NFL Super Bowl recap, including some drama in New England, NFL honors recap, and moving on to the NBA where there's still drama in Cleveland. The trade deadline also is imminently approaching, and so much more starting now.
Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, this is another edition of Debate Amongst Friends, episode 91 on February 7th, 2018. Happy pre-Valentine's Day, a week early for everyone out there, just in case Doc and Prop are unable to do it next week. I am your host with the most, the man who has infamously made the German suplex into the worst move in the world when it comes to Hell in a Cell matches. I am the Professor John Gotti. And always by my side, the Chris Hero to my team of Death by Elbows. It's the Doc. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing pretty well, Johnny Podcast.
Wow.
I'm doing pretty well.
Wow. I can't
How are you?
that. I'm doing pretty good. You know, I had a chance to enjoy a good Sunday. A Monday happened that was almost marking out worthy. And you know what, sir? Before the show, I went up and I asked Scott, your boy's hungry. He wants some food. He said, what do you want, big man? I said, I want a Philly cheesesteak. And you know what? That's what I had.
I don't even know why you had that, because the New York Football Giants won the Super Bowl this week.
I mean, apparently. I mean, it was a Scooby-Doo mystery, apparently.
Yes, I think the Giants just won it. The whole thing. I mean, they beat the Patriots again.
Yeah.
We got a pretty interesting show, sir.
Monsieur Brady is 0-3 against the G-Men.
He is. I mean, we had a pretty interesting show tonight. Some NFL news. Obviously, we got to talk about a stellar game. Obviously,
I don't know. I think some is quite the hyperbole. We have quite a lot of NFL to talk about.
You know, the only reason I say some and just a little bit, because it's really just associated with the Patriots. Actually. Like, yeah, you know, I mean, it's such a how weird. I mean, you know, you go to the Super Bowl and then all of a sudden you have drama. You know,
it was quite the predicament. I mean, I don't know how else to look at it. I mean, let's start off with just the game itself. Like, what a game! You know,
it was a phenomenal game.
Just like your boy. No, but in all retrospect, though, you mentioned it after the game was over. It was one of the best offensive games in NFL Super Bowl history.
Over 1,000 yards put up, absolutely. And the offensive plays, obviously the plays of the game, you know, the quarterback throwback passes.
Mm-hmm. We had two of them.
Which must be a Guinness Book of Record. 2 passes thrown to the quarterback in the same game. I mean, goodness.
Not just that, we had another historical thing happen, too, where a QB caught a pass for a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, that's how amazing. And really, that turned out to be the play of the game. How deflating. I see what I did there. How deflating for a team to give up a play that their offense really just ran. Like, I can't believe literally
you said that.
Yeah, that's just irony. I think that was unintentional. That's just irony.
That was completely intentional, sir. I'm not gonna lie. Like, if that was John Gotti, he wouldn't have apologized whatsoever about that comment. But
I mean, I'm not gonna apologize because it really was unintentional. I didn't mean to say deflating.
I feel like you kind of did, and
I mean, I think the word was intentional, but the
phrasing,
backhanded meaning.
the phrasing.
Yeah, I mean, it was
But
deflating.
I mean, I don't think that was the play that was deflating. I mean, and you could probably choose between the two. The Clement touchdown pass or the Zach Ertz touchdown pass was probably one of those two had to have been the deflating one. I mean, maybe not so much the Zach Ertz one because it really was a touchdown, and we kind of discussed that on the social media. When it happened, whether or not it was a catch, not a catch. Thankfully, the NFL is finally going to address this stupid issue so we can finally move on from this.
I mean, it's really like how many steps does a person have to take?
25.
Because, I mean, I'm looking at it. Now, mind you, the Clement touchdown, I would have been completely okay if they overturned that because, you know, he bobbled the ball a little bit. And if that was a regular season, they probably would have taken that back.
They would have. They would have.
The Zach Ertz touchdown, I mean, we're talking about a catch. He took 2 steps. He dragged his foot. I mean, it
called it though. And that because you posed the question out there on the Debate Amongst Friends Facebook page, facebook.com/debatesamongfriends, you know, about whether or not it was a catch. And I said it's a catch. He became a runner. He turned. He made 3 steps, and then he dove for it. As long as he crossed the plane, it was a touchdown, despite the fact that he fumbled it in the end zone. And lo and behold, Doc and Prof had reads once again.
Now, mind you, those same fans that were saying that it wasn't a catch, Patriot fans,
of course,
had that ball fumbled and went outside of and went behind the end zone, and all of a sudden it became a touchback, they would have felt that it was a catch.
Of course.
So that's where it gets kind of rough. But I hated the fact that somehow, some way, Cowboy fans.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad you said that. I can't wait. Please get this ball rolling, because I'll tell you what was really deflating in a second.
I mean, how in the world did they bring up that catch that Dez didn't make?
You got it. Oh my gosh! Ago, right? It was 2 years ago.
It was 2 years ago. It felt like last year, but it was 2 years ago.
No, it was.
It was last year.
No, it wasn't last year, did it?
Because the Cowboys were, that was last year.
It was last year.
So long ago.
It just felt so much because that was the last time the Cowboys were relevant.
Yeah, right. And somehow they made it about that catch. But Zach Ertz, you know what I think the difference was? Zach Ertz was running a slant, first of all. He was running a slant. Dez was running a go. He jumped in the air, came down with the ball, bobbled it, continued to bobble it until it hit the ground and popped up. Where this guy ran a slant, which he ran a slant.
He ran that slant like his life depended on him. He was acting like Sunshine from Remember the Titans. You run that slant like your life depends on it.
And not only did he continue to run through the catch, he ran through the end zone with the ball.
Yep.
And just so happened to pop in the air. I mean,
and despite the fact that happened, he still got the ball back.
Right. And I think that if I was going to I would say that Jerome James's catch in Pittsburgh, or non-catch. It was Jerome James, wasn't it?
Jesse James.
Jesse James, the road dog. Excuse me, Jerome.
Wow,
James
I was like, wait, are you really trolling me right now?
I meant Jesse James, the road dog, Jesse James. When he looking at Zach Ertz's catch now puts James's catch in perspective.
Absolutely.
Puts Dez's catch into perspective. If you're running through the ball, easy. You run through it, you catch it, you make 2 steps, maybe a third. Maybe that's just the rule. 3 feet now instead of 2 feet equals a catch in certain situations. It's going to be weird.
You obviously need to catch the ball, run for a first down, dive, do a split, somehow do a spin rooney at the same time, and then, only then, will it be a catch.
But can I be honest? I think this puts the onus more on wide receivers to just make clean catches. Like that's the only thing. Just make a clean catch. And it seems like that seems to be the issue with wide receivers is that they're not making clean catches. I mean, ultimately, I don't think the wide receiver greats such as Chris Carter and Randy Moss, like they never had these issues.
Nope.
They always caught the ball. You know, obviously we're going to talk about some of those guys later, but these guys caught the football. So why all of a sudden is it a big issue? We have no idea.
I mean, part of us just want to blame Roger Goodell, but I feel like it's even further than just
Now,
that.
I mean, now how did you feel about the Cowboys inserting themselves into this picture?
I mean, I want to say it was Epsom. It was possibly kosher, but it could have been a Himalayan salt that was amongst. They was enjoying their wings. They was enjoying their booze. And they said, you know what? I'm still hungry. I want another salty snack. And instead of them going to the cupboard to grab themselves, instead of them going to the cupboards to instead of them going to the cupboards to get themselves some chips, they decided to just grab a jar or a canister or a shaker of salt and throw it in their mouths because they were salty, my brother.
Do you think, now let me just throw this out there, and this is, I don't know if this is going to be a trolling moment. I don't know if I'm throwing more salt in the wounds, but
you can't throw more salt than what they was doing to themselves.
Let's think about it like this. The Redskins traded for Alex Smith. The Eagles are in the Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And the Giants won the Super Bowl commercial battle. Maybe the Cowboys just felt that they needed to do something and to include themselves in the news because the rest of the NFC East was doing great.
I mean, then that just make them petty.
Petty Betties.
Petty Betty.
Doesn't it make sense? I mean, Alex Smith goes to Washington. The Giants do Dirty Dancing.
Yeah.
And the Philadelphia Eagles are home eating cheesesteaks. So somewhere the Cowboys are like, how about them Cowboys, though?
But that made no sense, though.
It didn't. To discredit that catch was unbelievable. I couldn't even believe that even came up. It
wasn't even just that. It was, they did that, and then I'm looking through all of the social media outlets, and there are Cowboys fans saying that this Super Bowl doesn't count for Philly. They're still trash. You know, they spelled it TAS ... Wait. And it is trying to undermine what the Eagles were able to accomplish, which is to beat the juggernauts that are the New England Patriots and the Golden Boy TB12. Are you serious?
They did it. And I think that's where it gets kind of weird. I did see that post, and I know exactly who you're talking about. That's unbelievable. You know, on a year that supposedly people were supposed to boycott, you can't
sit there and do that.
This isn't like a NBA holdout season or an NFL holdout season or a lockout or anything like that. It's a personal choice to boycott and not watch the game.
Exactly.
I mean, come on. But I mean, that's not the only drama we had. Obviously, with the Super Bowl, with the Cowboys, with the Eagles. It's a lot of. I mean, obviously in Philly they went crazy. I know.
Okay, because you know where I'm about to go with that one.
They went crazy. It didn't even make any sense.
I mean, did they go crazy, or a control group went crazy?
So you think these were hired ringers?
No. I meant based off
Oh,
of neighborhoods.
are you saying a specific group of people?
I don't know
Like,
what you think I'm saying. I mean, are you hearing what I'm saying? Because you thinking I'm hearing what I'm saying?
oh yeah, I think I know exactly what you're saying.
Oh,
Yeah, they were definitely going crazy.
okay then.
I think it was those same people, we were talking about the other day buying certain policies.
Exactly.
Um, but that's ridiculous. It was ridiculous. I mean, why couldn't they just eat cheesesteaks? That's the only thing you should do in Philly. And go to Betsy Ross's house.
Wow.
Oh, wait.
Ow.
That's so good.
Wait, are we really doing this whole thing meta tonight? Because I'm totally down for doing that.
We can't say that.
Oh, we can say that.
Eat cheesesteaks at Tony Luke's and or Ishka Bibbles and
So
go to
before
Betsy
the
Ross's
show,
house.
I told Helen that she could take the night off. So we have free reigns to say and do whatever we like.
I'm just saying. I mean, why couldn't they just do that? Like, I mean, obviously, the last time during the NFC Championship game, they had to grease the poles and whatnot, but they were flipping cars out here, bro, setting stuff on fire, fireworks. I mean, I saw cops out there on horses, bro, horses.
Telling
It's like
people to calmly go back home.
30 to 40 degrees outside. Come on, go home, bro.
Terrible. Terrible. But let's stop talking about the fans' interaction because we could go all night with this.
Okay, so
And let's go back to the game. Let me tell you what was the most deflating part. Since you mentioned the word deflating.
the deflate gate of the game.
The deflate gate of the game, which was the officiating.
The officiating?
The officiating.
Really?
The
I thought you would have liked it. I thought you would have loved it. Oh wait, are you saying that it was good?
Exactly.
Okay. But I think his name is Sachitor. I think that's his last name.
Yeah.
Bill Sachitor, I think his name was. Every call, he had this weird, interesting smirk on his face. And it was like, I just was like, why is he laughing right now? Like, I hate that he's laughing. And then the commentators just so ironically mentioned that he brought his index card with him today. Because if you recall that he's the guy that did the...
I know. And it was a Gene Sedator.
Sedator. Gene. Okay. Yeah, he was laughing and smiling after every single call. And I was just like, come on, Gene, don't do this to us. Don't do this.
Like, if I was in Vegas and, a lot of people lost money in Vegas.
Oh, yes.
A lot of people lost money. And I mentioned that during the predictions that, based on how you decide to bet, you're going to either make a lot of money or you're going to lose a lot of money. And people lost a lot of money. And it was because of the plus minus at the end of the game, based off of how many points the Eagles scored and how many points the Patriots scored. It didn't matter who won. It just depended on, did they get over or under this certain point differential.
So our predictions were based on the fact that obviously the officiating, Tom Brady being Tom Brady, first of all, maybe the most deflating or deflate-gate moment was Brandon Cooks getting rocked and put out of the game.
Okay, so
That was a bad one. I mean, I was just screaming when I heard it. I yelled.
I mean, it was a rough shot.
Yeah, it was a rough one.
It was a rough shot.
I was like, good night.
I mean, Brandon Cooks made history from being part of two memes. The concussion that happened to him, not so much, but the first thing that happened prior to the concussion became the meme.
It's because the way he turned around?
The way that he got put through a table or spine busted or power bombed.
Was that him?
That was Brandon Cooks.
I thought that was somebody else.
That was Brandon Cooks.
I thought that was somebody else. I was hoping that it wasn't him. But so Okay, at first it did look like a pop-up power bomb. There's no question about it. It did at
And
first.
by all means, I'm totally fine with that.
If he would have did it, I probably would have lost it, obviously. But
I mean, if he just, sat down with it and then did the whole Super Roman Reigns little,
oh my god,
like, people would have marked out.
I would have turned the TV off. I would have just said, forget it. Never mind. But I mean, poor Brandon Cooks, though. I mean, he took a shot, and it was a bad one.
It was a bad one.
The power spine buster is one thing, but the hit was even worse. Knocked him out the game.
Did you feel it was a dirty hit?
No. Oh, it was nasty, but it wasn't dirty.
Okay.
It was clean. I mean, it was, grandma cleaning chitlins clean. Like, whew.
That's clean. That is clean.
I'm just saying, I don't eat chitlins. I'm just saying, I mean, I imagine that somebody's cleaning them. Most likely it's grandma.
I haven't had chitlins since I lived in Arizona, and I kind of want to avoid eating chitlins ever again.
I mean, we came so far in our lives that, I mean, those kind of things, that's a whole nother show. Obviously, what we used to eat versus what we eat now. But maybe the people want to hear that, where we've gone. I mean, eating all kinds of squid and all kinds of squid and whatnot. But that's another show for another day.
Of course. I mean, we definitely have to. We definitely need to have some kind of dining amongst friends idea.
Dining amongst friends. That's a good one. Dining amongst friends. That's almost table for three.
That is almost table for three, but we can't say that because Vince is gonna, be like, "That was my show."
That's my idea. But all right, let's move on though, because I think the one thing about the game that just stood out to me was that the Eagles, and I mentioned this during our preview, our review, our predictions. The Eagles had to sack Tom Brady.
Yes.
6 times.
Yes.
I said 6 times. They had to hurry him 10 times. They had to hit him, I think, pressure or hit him 12 times, something crazy like that. I mean, they really, really got after Tom Brady consistently all game long.
All game long.
They only got 1 sack. I think I even said 2 or 3 interceptions, and they were so close to picking Tom Brady off 2 or 3 times.
That last almost pick.
Yeah, and it was unbelievable that they didn't get their hands on any. And there was a few slants that Tom Brady had threw that should have been picked off. But
you know what the craziest part about this whole game is, though? Now that you mentioned about what the Eagles needed to do, there was only 2 turnovers in the game,
and maybe about 4 or 5 flags.
Yep.
But when you think about it, they won the game. The Eagles won the game by sticking to their game plan. And I mentioned this at halftime to my wife and a certain friend that
it's okay, Doc. You can say it's Professor's girlfriend. Yes,
it's the Professor's girlfriend. Okay. The Professor John Guy, the Game G, the Troll Master, the Dating Legend, Ninja, the conqueror of his own destiny's girlfriend, was here rooting for the Patriots. And
I mean, from what I've heard from the Baroness, it was almost like Professor John Gotti versus Little Brother Gotti. Back when the Patriots faced off against the Giants back in 2007.
I mean, it was like that. Because, I mean, and I didn't think I was too bad. I thought that it was going to be, again, I expected Bill Belichick to come out, make adjustments. I expected the Patriots, which they did. They came out completely different in the second half. They went to Gronk consistently. They got him involved. He probably yelled, and I imagine that's probably why he said he didn't know he was going to go back to New England after the season, because he felt like they didn't use him as much. Um, but their adjustments, they're one of the best adjustment teams ever.
Yes.
And I just didn't feel like they adjusted. Obviously, we're going to talk about Malcolm Butler, but they needed him big time. So I don't know what happened where he couldn't play the whole game,
Hmm.
but somebody's got some explaining to do.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned people need to explain things, and one thing that I really would love to hear from Bill Belichick is how come they didn't involve Gronk more? Because you mentioned their adjustments they had to make at halftime. That first drive after the kickoff, because the Patriots had the ball first to begin the second half,
Right. It
it was
was all
all
Gronk.
Gronk,
Yeah.
and they scored a
And I
touchdown
mean,
with it. Four straight
so
passes to Gronk.
so I know Gronk had maybe 3 or 4. I think he might have caught 1 or 2 passes in the first half
Yep.
out of maybe 6 because they were. I mean, Tom Brady was kind of off, in the
Yes.
first half. But to everybody, I would say to Gronk, everybody else he was kind of on when he had pressure in his face. A lot of times they were calling screens, and there were some times where, Tom Brady just stepped up and he just made a good play.
Hmm.
Um, but when I think about it, I mean, Gronk came out in the second half, and it was just like the Eagles had no answer at that moment. And Cinderella Man, where it was like, Jimmy, stay away from him, and he was like, oh no, that's not staying away, no, that's not leaning back. What are you doing?
I love that
And he's
movie. I love that
I
movie.
I do too. That's why I referenced it absolutely. But Gronk just came out punching, and I thought the Eagles might have been done for, but I mean, big match. Johnny does it again. I guess.
Wow.
I guess.
But I
Nick
mean,
Foles.
but like that's
Bruce
one of the major
Allen.
questions right there. Nick Folk had a great game. Big shout out to Doug Peterson and the offensive coordinator from perspective of they continually just pushed.
They did.
They didn't let up. They just kept pushing. They said, Nick, go out there and throw the ball.
But isn't that what the other teams did wrong? I mean, that's what the
That's
Jaguars did
exactly
wrong.
what they did wrong.
The Jaguars would have been in the Super Bowl had they did what the Eagles did.
Hmm.
I mean, it would have been easy. But you mentioned Bill Belichick. I mean, maybe it was Josh McDaniels. Maybe Josh McDaniels went away from Gronk because they were double teaming him, and he just felt that there were other people. They wanted to go after some other matchups.
Part of me feels like it's not his final. He's not the final decision, but I can see where you say that.
I mean, it goes pretty fast. I mean, 40 seconds goes very fast. So, I mean, the first half, I mean, you have an offensive coordinator, you got people in a booth, you got position coaches telling you what their guys are saying,
Yep.
and you're talking about 40 seconds, and you have this game plan in front of you, and you're like, all right, it's 2nd and 7. This is a play that I have written down for 2nd and 7. I'm gonna go with this play. In the second half, I mean, I'm gonna make an adjustment and go to my star player because Brandon Cooks is out, which I'm sure sucked, but it is what it is.
Yeah, but they
Uh,
did all this without Julian Edelman, though. Like, it's
what
not.
happened? Edelman.
But like, it's not like they are without talent on the team.
Oh, absolutely. And they had Philip Dorsett out there, who I think is a stud. So you're right. I don't know exactly what happened. I just felt like they didn't execute, and the Eagles did.
I can
I
see that.
mean, that's pretty much it. Execution factor as to why it came down to a strip fumble sack at the end of the game to really seal the deal. I mean, we could have easily made that our deflate gate moment, but I mean, I think it was those other moments. I was shocked with that fumble. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, I was shocked. It was like Undertaker losing to Brock Lesnar shocked.
You know what? That was the first thing I thought of when it happened. Like,
Yes.
I felt like I was like Paul Heyman running it, jumping into the ring, sitting in the corner, just going like,
Right. That's exactly what I did. I had my hands over my face, and I was so shocked. I think I did the shocked Undertaker guy face,
"Oh my gosh, we need
and
to try to find them and see if he can start marking out for us."
oh, that would be fantastic. Um, and I looked over at the Professor John Gotti's girlfriend, and I said, "I think it's over. I think it might be over. If they can get a first, I said if they get a first down, this game is over." But they didn't get a first down, but they kicked a field goal to make it, 7, 8 point game. And I mean, play defense, no timeouts.
Yep.
This is the last game of the season, Jim.
Definitely put that out there.
Absolutely. But what is your take on the Malcolm Butler situation?
So we here at Debate Amongst Friends, we're not like normal individuals when it comes to rumors. We don't take it as faith. We always try to wait for more information to come about because there's three sides to the story. There's one side, there's a second side, and there's exactly what happens, actual truth. When this story broke out about, why Malcolm Butler didn't play a single defensive snap because he was on special teams. I think they said he only played like 9 snaps throughout the whole game.
That's crazy.
They said it was conduct detrimental to the team because he was arguing with the coaches. Then they said it was because he skipped curfew by going to a Rick Ross concert. Then they said it was because he got caught by the police in Minneapolis for having weed on him. And recently, he came up with a retort. I believe it was late yesterday, in fact, where he said these allegations are false. I put everything that I have out there for the team and give them my all. I would never do anything to risk us losing, especially such a big game like the Super Bowl. He explains what he was doing. He said he never missed curfew. He said he was around his family. And, the allegations placed upon him was hurtful to him and his family.
Absolutely.
So, to hear such a passionate retort to it, because he could just say, "Oh man, that's not true. Like, I don't know what people were talking about, blah 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 blah," or have representatives say the same thing. The fact that he did it himself shines a different light on the individuals, because it was a friend of a friend for an analyst who put it out there for this rumor.
Right.
It wasn't like a reliable source. Like, we have primary sources, secondary sources. This is like the 4th level of sources. The stuff that you see on the bathroom stall kind of sources. But it shines a negative light towards the Patriots organization.
And they don't like that.
And of course they don't like that. But it creates the parallel of the veil of, pedigree for the Patriots, because it starts revealing a lot of things, because we have former players defending Malcolm Butler, and basically getting onto it. They have current players, including Mr. Brady himself, although, he's kind of doing the LeBron James kind of thing, being passive-aggressive, basically thanking him for being a great teammate and, telling him that he loves him and blah, 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 blah. Although he did kind of troll at the end by putting 6 exclamation marks, which is supposed to be like the 6 championships he's supposed to have, but, he didn't get. But of course people are taking that and, running with that as like, and this is the part that I don't like about sports media, is the fact that they take every little thing and try to extrapolate all of the small little juices from it. It's like you have a rag and you're trying to get that last drop of water out so you can hang it up to dry. And it's one more in there, and you're just squeezing so hard. Then now your hands are starting to hurt because you're squeezing it too hard. That's what the media is right now.
And we're definitely going to talk about more of that squeezing later on, as we continue on, because there's a lot of squeezing in other sports too. But for him to not play at all, I mean,
Bush League.
detriment. Yeah, I mean, it would have had to been something absolutely ridiculous for me to bench my starting defensive back on the Super Bowl. It would have had to been something ridiculous, and for them to not come out and say exactly what it is makes me believe that it's not something that serious, or if it was that serious, it would have been like, hey, he missed curfew and that was it, oh, hey, he did something that he wasn't supposed to do. He broke a Bill Belichick rule. I would rather them just come out and say, Article 23.555 of the Bill Belichick Code of Code of Conduct says, you can't do this. He did that. Hey, you're suspended. I don't care what game it is. But it sounds like he did. By the look of it, it looked like he didn't know about the suspension until the national anthem, because he was crying and whatnot.
It was right before the national anthem happened was when he found out.
So it's like, why I wouldn't even wasted my time getting dressed. I mean, like.
Which is funny because then stories started coming out and they gave you the chance to research, but this isn't the first time something like this happened with the Bill Belichick team for the Super Bowl. In fact, in 2012, right before Super Bowl 46, they actually cut a wide receiver before the Super Bowl. Yes, Taquan Underwood.
Oh, I remember, because he was a buck. I remember that fro. High top fade. Taquan Underwood. I mean, I don't really forget Taquans, but the fade. You can't forget that fade. But just looking at the New England way is so tough, and it's just a harder thing to crack. But speaking of cracking, I mean,
wait.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're just gonna be full on meta tonight. Okay. But
Hey.
before we go to what I know you're about to ask, if Malcolm Butler did start the game, does this change the outcome of the game?
He felt that he could cover Aguilar, which when they made the change in the second half, to put, to change the coverage on, Alshon Jeffrey, who in the second half did become obsolete. Maybe he could have. I don't know if he would have been able to stop him completely, but I mean, maybe he would have been a help. But we don't know. We'll never know because he didn't play.
Yep.
So
I just figured let me ask that question because that's what
That's a
everyone
good
else is
question.
asking.
I don't even know why they're asking the question. I mean,
I'm
he
just
didn't
like,
play.
well, I mean, he didn't play, so we're never gonna know. Just move on with our lives.
Des Bryant didn't make the catch, so we'll never know if the Cowboys would have.
He didn't make that catch, even if Cowboy Nation wants us to believe that.
Exactly. It didn't happen. Move on. But
The dream is dead.
No boyhood dream, and nothing becomes reality.
Oh my gosh. Unless they want a dose of reality, that's totally different. But moving on.
Daily doses are given out. Well, daily. So, speaking of cracking, what did you think of the Patriots staff obviously cracking apart? Obviously, Matt Patricia leaving after one of the worst defensive performances in Super Bowl history to go to Detroit.
Apparently, people are trying to make the same parallel for Doug Peterson, but Peterson's more of an offensive person. We're talking about the defensive coordinator for the runner-up of the Super Bowl that had 41 points dropped on him.
And we're talking about last year when the Chiefs didn't score points in the playoff?
Yes.
But that's another reason why every year they look at Alex Smith.
But could you even blame the offensive coordinator for that, though?
No, I mean, if Alex Smith isn't, or if the offense isn't executing, You can call all the plays in the world.
Exactly.
All the plays in the world. I mean, look at Todd Haley. You know, I think he might actually really help the Browns, possibly, if, they
They
don't beat the Browns.
exactly. But
But, I mean,
but but back to your
what do you think?
question though. I mean, we knew that he's gonna become the new head coach because they wanted him. They wanted him bad.
I don't know why. I didn't like it.
I mean, it's the Lions.
It was a terrible choice. Like, I mean, I just didn't feel like he's ready. Now, sure, he might prove me all kinds of wrong, and he might be the best coach. He might be the coach of the year for the next 10 years. I mean, I didn't know who Sean McVay was, and look what he's doing in St. L.A. I was going to say St. Louis. That's the way it should be, but in L.A. Um, but on the interim, on the flip side, on the other side of the cool pillow, Josh McDaniels stays in New England.
Yeah, that was a very unprofessional move. At least in football retrospect, in real life, people does do stuff like that all the time.
Absolutely. So I mean, if your boss says, "Hey, when your manager retires, you're going to take over for him," I mean,
It's
you have
hard
another
to
job.
it's hard to turn that down.
You tell another job that, hey, you put in your 2 week notice, and then they come back and say, well, we were going to make you the manager once this manager retires, which could be 2 to 4 years from now. Honestly, there's reports coming out that Andrew Luck might need another surgery,
Hmm.
uh, but it wouldn't matter to Josh McDaniels because they have Jacoby Brissett,
Reset exactly.
and he worked with Brissett before, so I don't know. I think it's interesting. Um, and Josh McDaniels' agent even quit on him after he stunned, or I guess spurned the Colts. I mean, he really left them hanging.
He
It
left them
was
really hanging.
because I mean, we're talking about, they could have been interviewing other candidates this whole time.
Yep.
You know, they could have been, going after somebody else, and they thought they had McDaniels, and I think even everybody thought they had McDaniels. So that's rough.
It really
But
is. I mean, still good luck for them. Like I was probably more so as far as Patricia, I'm more afraid of what's going to happen with Matt Stafford's career because we both like Matt Stafford.
yeah, he's a good player. I mean, hopefully they can actually get a run game going.
Yeah,
That's the
they
only thing they're
definitely need that.
missing. That's the
But
only thing they're
as
missing.
far as the Colts though, it's like the Colts are always a team that always look great on paper, but then they just have seasons riddled with injuries. It
Agreed.
it never fails with them.
And then it's unbelievable because I think Matt Stafford has played really, really great football. Um, I don't know what they need. I mean, obviously, they're still trying to find that running back that's going to really do it for them. I think Golden Tate, although he's no Calvin Johnson, I think he plays, very well. I think they need more consistency out of their tight end, Ebron, because you got to be hungry, Ebron.
I see what you did there.
But I just think that they need more consistency out of the offense. The defense, I think they have some talent there, and maybe, and I don't know if Patricia's going to let them run the 4-3, or if he's going to try to switch to the 3-4. It's going to be interesting to see what they try to do.
Hmm. Everything's gonna be have to be a big adjustment. So you could pretty much call. I mean, we can't even say that because Doug Peterson just came into Philly and things like that. But I mean, the fact that we know what the Lions are capable of doing versus what they're actually doing, and now with a new coach who's more of a defensive-minded person, I mean, can we call this next season forfeit for the Lions?
It depends on who they bring in as offensive coordinator. It depends on who they bring in, who he brings in as his offensive coordinator. If he can bring in an offensive coordinator who can, who has a history of balanced offense or up tempo offense or high scoring offense, and he could just focus on the defense, sure. But as a head coach, that's where it gets a little different because you're now managing everything. You're not just managing one side of the ball.
Yep.
So that's why I'm a little worried about him. Which the reports are saying he's not trying to be the next Bill Belichick. He's trying to be his best self. But at the same time, it's like that's what you're known for. That's what they want. They want the next Bill Belichick. That's what they want. They don't want the cheating, of course. They don't want Deflategate. They don't want, Spygate. They don't want any gates.
I don't know. They might want whatever that they can get from him. Ding ding.
Anything gate.
Ah.
But I mean, honestly, it's just they want longevity. They want a coach that's going to be successful. They want the Super Bowls. They want it all.
They want it all. You're totally right.
So, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, Josh McDaniels, hopefully he doesn't, in a situation, reap what he sows. I mean,
I think they'll still be okay because everyone still wants him. Like, his value is still pretty high.
I mean, he's staying with New England, so, that's really going to be it. Honestly, I think that where he's going to fail to realize is that Bill Belichick's going to stay around probably as long as Tom Brady stays around.
Oh, you already know this.
Yeah, so he'll have to deal with no quarterback by the time he takes over.
I mean, he's basically going to pull a Phil Jackson almost.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure that, Tom Brady may want to play until 45 and all this other crap. But Giselle was just sitting up there like, if this old man don't sit himself down and go fishing or something.
If that O-line could get better and better, because that O-line protected the crap out of him.
They really did. That pass rush was coming heavy.
Like, that pass rush, and they only rushed, 4 to 6 people throughout the whole game?
They had kept a solid 4-man rush the whole game.
That's even better.
Yeah, it was solid 4-man rush.
And the fact that they was able to hold them off, a hungry Eagles defense that wanted, Brady's blood.
They really, really did.
Like, his jersey was almost perfectly clean. Like, they knocked him back, I think, 7 or 8 times. But
they did.
If they continue that kind of pace, absolutely he could play till he's 45. Absolutely. The only thing that they have to worry about is his arm strength.
Yeah, and I think somebody was saying that he doesn't really work out like that, and that's where it's going to get kind of weird. But I think he does some resistance training. I don't think he does heavy lifting, but he definitely works out. I mean, I just worry. I mean, obviously, if I'm McDaniels, I'm just sitting there when is it going to be my shot? I want to take over. And I mean, it's going to be interesting to see who they bring in to replace Patricia. But also it's going to be interesting because, they're coming off of a Super Bowl loss.
Yes.
And actually, somebody showed me an interesting stat. Maybe not stat, but an interesting, observation. Every year that Nick Saban wins a championship.
Yes, I saw that stat.
Bill Belichick doesn't. And vice versa. Isn't that crazy?
That's
so crazy.
That's insane all by itself. There's nothing to say.
I hope it's false, but I mean, it seems so crazy. I mean, we're talking about two of the best coaches in their respective leagues.
I mentioned how the Patriots are. Well, Tom Brady is 0-3 since 2008 against NFC East teams.
Well, hopefully he doesn't have to face them anymore after this year.
The only thing I gotta say is that they end up facing the Cowboys in the Super Bowl. The Cowboys is gonna break that streak.
Wow. I don't think they get into the Super Bowl unless they make some changes.
But I mean, overall, I would give this Super Bowl top 5 honors minus the halftime show because we gotta talk about the halftime show right now.
See, I didn't know if we want to talk about the halftime show or leave that to
all we gotta do
out.
is just give it we love it, we hate it, it's meh.
Thumbs down. Not top 5. Just alive. Terrible.
It was absolutely poop.
On a stick. as
On
I
a
mentioned
steak.
during the day. I mean, they said Justin's album wasn't good, so he did his old stuff. I felt it'd been better if he would have brought out some star power with him.
Even still, and and we talked about this, and people was talking about it as well too on the social medias, that it felt like he was just going through the paces. Like, he
Yeah,
wasn't really singing anything. He was ad-libbing some stuff, but other than that, it was mainly the background track playing.
I agree. I agree. And it just wasn't a good show. I mean, the Prince part, it tried to save it with Prince, and then, that iconic, hilarious moment when he went in the crowd and that kid didn't know who he was. you know, but
Two huge memes. Well, three huge memes from Super Bowl. It was that. It was the Brandon Cooks spinebuster spot, and Tom
mm.
Brady hunched over in despair after the turnover.
And the one where he's trying to catch the Super Bowl trophy and he couldn't
Oh
reach.
yeah, because even Butterfingers got into the action.
Yes, they did, Butterfingers. But I mean, if I had to give the halftime show a grade, I definitely would give it a 3. And he only gets 2 points for showing up.
He gets a -10, and I'm moving on from that.
Oh wow! But obviously, we also had some other good news in the NFL. We had the Hall of Fame. We had the Hall of Fame inductees, sir. Any surprises for you? I mean, there was. I mean, obviously,
Not surprises, but it made me happy to see Randy Moss.
and I saw somebody had posted, and I felt it could have been a trolling moment, but I hated it all the same. That T.O. needed to get into the Hall of Fame before Randy Moss. Agree or disagree?
I think because T.O. was out of the game longer, and they kind of held that back on him.
Randy was better, in my opinion.
Stats wise, Randy was better.
Randy was just a better player altogether, in my opinion. Stats and just overall going around and just riding around and getting it. But T.O. had some iconic catches, I guess.
I mean, T.O. has some great stats. Like, it's hard to not ignore the stats, you know?
Absolutely.
Like, if we're just gonna do it based off of stats, absolutely. I mean, and am I also happy that Terrell Owens is into? Absolutely, I am. Because I felt like they were purposely keeping him out.
I'm honestly surprised that Ray Lewis is in.
Yeah. Was this his first one going for it? Was this
I
his first
believe
time?
so. Yes, I believe so. And they passed on, John Lynch and, Rondé Barber and a few other players.
Who I feel Rondé should definitely give himself some consideration too.
Yeah, I think next year or the year after next, Rondé will definitely get in there. But I mean, I also felt that there were some great offensive linemen, that were in this particular list that, I felt could have been definitely into consideration. But I think the people that they chose, it's a good crew. I think this is a crew that we, grew up watching. Obviously, it's 2018. These guys probably came into the league 2003-ish, 2002 and further.
Yep.
Maybe a little older, like T.O.
Some came at like 96, 98.
Yeah, I think Brian Dawkins is a little older,
Yeah.
Urlacher, and then T.O., of course. But, these are guys that, between that 20 years.
T.O. came into the league at 96.
96, yeah. So in the 2000s, though, like 2000 to 2010,
Yes.
these guys reign supreme.
Absolutely.
And, we got a chance to watch them play. So I'm pretty happy for them. Hopefully some of the guys that, weren't selected this year are back up tomorrow, next year.
Yep. But I mean, how do you feel about Brian Dawkins getting the nod?
I always thought that Brian Dawkins was a great safety. You know, he they made fun of him in a group that I'm in. Not fun of him, but they made fun of Jameis saying, "See, Jameis, this is how you pump up your team. This is a
Oh
pre-game speech here." Because
no.
Brian Dawkins is one of the, he's a great pre-game speech
Speech.
guy. Like,
Exactly. He's a great
yeah,
motivator.
yeah. So he's not eating any W's. You know. But Brian Dawkins is a big time hitter, big time player. I'm surprised that Ed Reed isn't in this list. I would have picked Ed Reed over Brian
I
Dawkins.
would have definitely. That would have been excellent. Like Ed Reed and Ray Lewis in the same Hall of Fame class. They went hand in hand together.
They did. Even like a Troy Polamalu, I would have even said would have been nice. But Brian Dawkins is a good selection. Like you said, been out of the game a little longer. Because you got Urlacher in there. Like these are good players. These are
Yes,
guys that played pretty hard. So I think we're good with that.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Also, on that very same Saturday, we also had the NFL Honors Awards.
So no real surprises. I mean, looking at it, I think the only surprise maybe was the coach of the year. Although I felt they played well, and maybe it's because of how bad they were last year. And of course, I'm talking about the Rams.
Of course.
I guess he did turn them around the most. I'm thinking that the Eagles, Doug Peterson should have been at least, considered.
I mean, do you feel like there should have been a most improved?
I mean, that's basically what the coach of the year was in the situation, most improved, because, I mean, easily could have chosen one of the coaches from the Super Bowl. You easily could have chosen the Vikings head coach.
Yep,
I mean, but they went with the Rams because they were terrible last year.
they were really bad last year.
Yeah, so and the Vikings I think were on the cusp of making the playoffs last year. They just missed it. But the Rams are really bad. So I think that's the only one that I was just sitting there like, I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
Um, but that's the only surprise.
I
I
mean,
mean,
a
Alvin
lot of them
Kamara,
are pretty much obvious. Yeah,
yeah, Alvin Kamara, clearly.
of
You know,
course.
um, what's the defensive tackle?
Aaron Donald.
Uh, Aaron Donald, that's easy. So a lot of them are pretty clear cut, easy. But that coach of the year, I thought could have went anyway.
What about the defensive rookie of the year, Marshawn Lattimore?
He had a great season too. That could have went. That could have went to a few different people, and Lattimore is the one from the Saints, right?
Yes, cornerback.
That's the same one that gave up the catch, the miracle catch.
Wait, is it him?
I believe it is.
Oh no! You know I gotta check it now.
Yes, I believe he's the one that gave up the catch.
Oh
I
gosh, Chris! Chris!
I mean, I believe he's the one.
Marcus Williams is the name of the DB.
Marcus Williams.
I
Okay.
was like, I know it wasn't him.
They both were rookies, but you know,
Oh, I was like, no, that doesn't sound right.
imagine if he would have gotten defensive rookie of the year still though.
Then he would, as he's going up there to accept the award, they'll put the meme up there.
True. True.
It'll be a classless act, but I mean, this award ceremony is a classic act by itself. Kind of don't like
True.
it.
Hey, sometimes it is what it is. But
But the real one is the MVP,
Thomas Brady,
Thomas Brady.
I mean, I can't really fault him for choosing Tom.
Tom.
I can't fault him for choosing Tom. I mean, he did his thing.
He did.
He did his thing. Um, he's 42. I mean, that's where it
I
gets kind of
think
rough.
he's the oldest QB to win the MVP award now.
I could probably agree with that.
So, I don't know how people want to take that, but I mean, do you feel like Carson Wentz could have still won it?
I believe so. I believe so. I think he probably been even more aggressive with Carson Wentz.
I could agree with that. I mean, this is why I really don't like it, but we still have to talk about it because the MVPs and Offensive Rookie of the Years and Defensive Rookie of the Year. How do you feel about the Walter Payton Man of the Year award? I mean, that was so obvious that it was going to be J.J. Watt because of the publicity of his philanthropy. But I mean, was there really anyone else?
Well, see, I think the thing with the Walter Payton Man of the Year award is that there are so many things that the NFL players do that we don't know about. And I think because JJ did, raise all that money for the hurricane, I guess that's, it's easier for us to recognize that. So to me, that was an easy award to give out. Easy. J.J. Watt. I mean, he didn't play on the field too much this year. So, off the field, he reigned supreme. He was the Roman Reigns of humanitarian.
I could agree with that.
He Superman punched humanitarian.
He Superman punched.
Better yet, he was the John Cena of humanitarianism.
We're gonna move on. We're gonna move on now.
Nope. Absolutely.
Nope.
So I guess we're moving to the hardwood.
Let's get away from the gridiron. Let's hit the hardwood, and let's start off with what will most likely be the last time you hear it on this show, unless this player on this team either retires, get injured, then have to retire, it gets traded, somehow gets caught up with some kind of drama in a club where he shots himself in the leg like Plaxico Burress, or a trade actually flipping happens. This is the last time we're going to talk about the Cleveland freaking Cavaliers.
So, as many people know, the Doc is a Houston Rockets fan. And we had a chance to play against the LeBron Cavaliers, where I noticed that their jerseys say "The Land" on it. So I think at that moment I knew that they weren't going to play good because their jersey says "The Land." But we ran them out the gym.
I saw it on their jerseys, and after the game, all I could think of is they are the land of the free because they lost and were absolutely free.
The land of the Saltiers.
They don't even deserve that.
I mean, because, and I think Mark Jackson and Van Gundy and the other gentleman that's up there, they were talking about the lack of hustle, the lack of defense, the lack of effort. I mean, there was a play where LeBron made a turnover and he ran down the court and made a LeBron-esque block. But I will say that, and we talked about this off stream, and you told me to just stop it. But Tyronn Lue looks like he might have lost his team.
I mean, I had a chance a day or so to really, absorb what you was talking about, and I have to agree with you.
I mean, even last night they lost to the Magic. They blew a 21-point
lead. Exactly. I
I
mean,
mean,
the Eagles may have won the Super Bowl, but don't let that, redirect your mind and attention to the fact that the Cavaliers gave up a 21-point lead and lost to the Magic.
I don't even know who's on the Magic anymore.
You see what I did there?
I do see what you did
Okay.
there. Isn't
Okay.
Aaron Afwalo on the Magic?
I have no clue. I don't track that piss in anymore.
Your favorite player. I figured you would,
Heck no. That's like me
So
saying
you,
that your favorite player is Julius Ilgauskas still.
wow, fade away. Peja.
Oh no!
Oh goodness.
Well, we're live, so just moving on.
Absolutely. But I think that Cleveland, and I mentioned this to you yesterday, this is the best team, and you mentioned it on paper, that LeBron's ever played with. They really should be dominant. Like, he should only have to play 25, 30 minutes a game with this team, but I'm tired of them offering trades for the likes of J.R. Smith and Iman Shumpert. Like, that's the only people that they have. I mean, I guess the Isaiah Thomas, I don't know. I don't even know what to call Derrick Rose anymore. Like, are these trials done? Like, I mean, is this it? Like, what are they going to do? They're going to blow it up? I mean, what do they do?
Honestly, there's nothing they can do because there's a little linchpin right there in the middle called LeBron James that's preventing any kind of moves from happening.
I can't even believe they were even talking about LeBron. I can't even believe they brought up LeBron's no trade clause. I don't even know why LeBron has a no trade clause.
Exactly. Okay,
He's
so
trading.
so so now we're gonna talk about let's put this out there in the open about why we're not gonna talk about the Cavaliers and LeBron James anymore.
Sure.
It's now to the point to where constantly, every single day, LeBron James is creating some kind of narrative to make sure he makes headline news for ESPN, for FS1, for Bleacher
Mm,
Report, for TMZ, for New York Post, to New York Times, Boston Global, Daily News, Washington Post, all over frickin' America and the world.
mm-hmm.
We at Debate Among Friends are now tired. We're now going through
Hmm.
LB James exhaustion.
I mean, it's almost borderline overdose.
It is overdose. It's
Uh,
overdose and is need of a dose of reality.
but why would they mention trade clause? It could have been anything. Like, okay, I'm okay with the hey, LeBron might leave in free agency. LeBron might go to the Warriors. LeBron might go to the Rockets. LeBron might retire. LeBron doesn't like Lou. LeBron cursed out executives. LeBron doesn't want to waive his no trade clause. LeBron. LeBron
LeBron
James.
James, LeBron
LeBron
James.
James. I mean, it's just getting out of hand,
It is out
and
of hand.
he's supposed to be the best player in the world. And that's somebody on my Facebook post, my Facebook friends wrote, "You're supposed to be the best player in the world, and you only scored 10 points."
Exactly.
I mean, and the Rockets, granted, they're my team. We're not the best defensive team in the league. I mean, we play better defense than we did 2 years ago, but we didn't have Trevor Ariza. There was no Eric Gordon. I want to say that LeBron actually was out there on Ryan Anderson. So I'm not even trying to troll or anything like that. I'm really just trying to understand because this is, again, on paper, the best team he's ever played with. They have a 10 to 11 man rotation that they can go with at any time, including, Channing McFry.
McFry.
You got JR, you got Iman, you have a rookie, Osman, down there who came in and played some garbage minutes, but looked like the best thing out there. Um,
I
you know,
mean, if
he,
you want to say that, then they're already a lost cause.
I mean, he looked like he would play better than JR and all those other guys that are just chucking up threes. But then you also have Kyle Korver. I think the Kyle Korver project should be done. I mean, I would definitely scrap Jose Calderon. I mean, I probably would just go out and get Mario Chalmers for LeBron at this point.
Oh my gosh.
And Mario Chalmers should even hold a basketball.
I can't believe you said that. I can't believe you said that with a straight face.
I said it, and I'd say it again.
And I say it again
But
too.
but if I mean, all right, let's put on our GM hat. So if we go over to the Xbox One right now, and we put on NBA 2K. Let's say you had 2K18, and you say, you know what, I'm going to play with the Cavaliers. I would never say that, of course, but this is all hypothetical. I never played with the top ranked teams, not even my Rockets. I always pick the worst teams and try to make them better. Um, so you pick the best team. You pick, the Cavaliers, the LeBron Cavaliers. And you say, I mean, what's the first thing that you would even do with that team?
I would turn injuries on, and I would find someone to do a Tanya Harding to LeBron James. Oh, wait, did I say it out loud on air? Because I'm serious.
Turn injuries on and Tanya Harding. Wow.
I don't even know if people even know who she is.
Injuries on. Wow.
Why?
But I mean, what would be the first thing you would do though with that franchise? I mean,
honestly, I'd trade LeBron James. Like, I feel like I could get a lot more accomplished with the salary that he is taking over. And just like I always say it with my Knickerbockers, and we have to talk about that too.
Yeah.
Have the young guys play. I like to build up my stars.
No, I will say this: even in the 2K game, if he has a no trade clause, he won't waive it. So, so you would have to do it some other way. I mean, who else would you get rid of?
Honestly, that trash bench. Just start fresh.
I mean, who's first? Which Pitt fan is first?
Iman Shumpert.
He gets such a bad rap. I mean, he's just got a baby. He's got hair. He's supposed to be a defensive specialist.
Iman Shumpert.
Oh. I mean, maybe they keep him around just so that they look at Tiana Taylor videos and they don't feel like they're disrespecting him because he's on the team.
It's okay. So my first pick, to all honesty, would be between Iman Shumpert or Tristan Thompson.
Oh, Tristan. So Tristan.
Because I feel like he's the Jerome James of that team.
I could understand that. Tristan Thompson, I mean, anybody in particular you would go after, or you would just clear the cap?
I'd rather just start clearing the cap.
Gotcha. I mean, I can understand that, and I don't know what happened to Tristan Thompson. I mean, maybe he was who he thought he was.
I didn't think he was anything, so my expectation was already low.
I mean, he gave a lot of energy the last couple finals, and I think that's ultimately where it came from.
I mean, but are we really gonna award mediocrity?
I mean, it really just became mediocrity. I mean, I know what you're saying. I mean, trust me, I really get it, because mediocrity is what a lot of teams do, including the Bucks, the Bengals, and a few other teams. But I just don't know what happened to him. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened with Isaiah Thomas. I know what happened with Derrick Rose. I mean, I know what happened with Dwayne Wade. I mean, I know. I mean, Crowder is, he's always been okay. He's a third or fourth option at best.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what. I mean, you have to blow up the team, but
and that's exactly what I would do. I would just blow up the team.
The trade deadline is tomorrow.
It is tomorrow, and they have yet to make a deal. There's been some deals happening though.
I mean, if they were smart, they'd make a 5-team trade so they can get rid of everybody. That's what I would do.
Oh no, you're
But I
you're
agree though.
completely right.
Yeah, I agree though. Tristan would be a good person to start with. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they were gonna be trying to trade Kevin Love, but everybody always says no to Kevin Love. They always say no to Kevin Love. No trades. No, we're not trading Kevin Love. I
I
mean,
mean, that because he's now, being shown as overrated.
I mean, I don't know, but I also read a report that was saying that Kevin Love wasn't getting along with players because he didn't fit in, potentially because he's white.
I think that's probably the dumbest reason.
I
I've
mean,
ever heard.
that's kind of what they were going with that particular video, that he wasn't fitting in. I think this is on ESPN too, that he wasn't fitting in, and it was actually, yes, that show where the two guys sit and the dad's in the middle.
Okay.
Um, what's that show on ESPN? It comes right on. It comes on right before or after. Actually, come on right after. Pardon the interruption. There's a guy, two guys
Around the horn.
around the horn. No, is it around the horn?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And the dad's in the middle.
Oh, that's
Old guy.
highly
The
questionable.
old. There you go. The old guy.
Yeah, I'm like that's way before PTI.
Okay. The old guy. He he, he was talking about it, and I mean they were just saying, like, it looked so weird with him saying it. He was like, I'm sure Kevin Love's been around a lot of black guys before. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous that he would have this issue. But of course, you know how media baiting is.
That's
Um,
media baiting.
'Cause there was a video of Kevin Love throwing a jacket at Channing Frye during the same week, and I guess they had a meeting about it. It was weird, you know. But even a few people have said that the Cleveland way is a very strange place. So
I
if you're
didn't even
not,
know Cleveland had a way.
apparently, and I guess Isaiah Thomas is also struggling from it because he's the only one speaking. If you
Yeah,
haven't
no, no,
noticed,
no. He's definitely outspeaking. Becoming very outspoken about this whole situation.
but that doesn't seem to be the Cleveland way. So he'll probably be dealt by tomorrow. He'll probably return to stardom.
I mean, but who's gonna pick him up though?
The Knicks. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe, just maybe, the Knicks can get rid of Joakim Noah
They are actually still actively looking.
to the
Ian
Cavs.
Bagley posted that out earlier today after there was a finalization of another trade that happened with the New York Knickerbockers to deal Willie Herman Gomez, who I am sad to see go.
He wanted
But
to trade.
but he wanted to trade because he wasn't getting any burn. I mean, I
I
can't get
mean,
mad at him for that because that's what my main gripe is about my Knickerbockers.
I
It's the
mean,
fact that the young guys want to play, but then you do stuff to not give them playing time, and now you have to trade them.
well, when you look at that team, and again, I of course I don't want to compare real life to a video game, but when you look at the team in like 2K, you see KP, you see Ennis Cantor, you see Kyle O'Quinn, you see Willie Hernan Gomez, then there's Michael Beasley, then like there's so many forwards on the team, so many bigs on the team, and then you still have Joakim Noah, even though he's not playing, even though he's not there now. It's like, how do you get all these forwards in the rotation without going too big, or because
Exactly.
I don't even think they have a small lineup to even go with.
They
I
really
think it's
don't.
big,
It would
or
have been
nothing.
KP playing at the five.
Right. Um, but but I don't know. I think that was a terrible, terrible idea. I would have probably traded Kyle O'Quinn or somebody else
And I
rather
would have
than Willie
loved that
Herman.
better. Like they could have put a
Yeah.
package deal with Kyle Quinn and Joakim Noah to lighten that salary cap because Herman Gomez is very very light on the salary cap. Like that's nothing to us because he's still on his rookie contract.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't know. I think that
But I mean, we got 2 second round draft picks and a center. for the
I mean,
deal.
do you care? I mean, come on, Johnny O'Brien,
I don't even know who that
Johnny.
is.
I don't know who that is
I
either.
have no clue who that is.
I mean, I don't know, but Hernan Gomez going to Charlotte. I mean,
I
that's
mean,
what he gets.
and I hope all the best for him. Like, I really like Herman Gomez, and I hope he gets, the ability to play on the floor, and I think he can make an impact with Charlotte. I mean,
I don't think
he's
that
a
either.
stud on the offensive end. He just got to work on the defensive end a little bit more, but he's still a solid rebounder, and I just hope the best for him.
Hmm. I'm not. I don't know if that's a good fit either. I probably would have chose a different team, but I mean, if that's the team he had. I mean, I guess we'll see what happens. Obviously, there are some other news. I mean, we already mentioned LeBron James not leaving Cleveland.
Yeah, forget
Um,
about him.
but how did you? I mentioned this, I think, a couple of days ago, maybe even over the weekend.
Well,
Tyreek Evans potentially getting some interest for a first round pick. I don't think he's worth a
I don't
first
think he's
round.
worth a first round pick at all.
Yeah, I don't. I wouldn't trade a first round pick for him. In fact, I think he might get a second round pick and possibly a D leaguer.
I see what you did there. But actually, now that you mention people having their eye on things, your Houston Rockets have their eye on George Hill.
Which is weird. I don't know. I'm just trying to think about
I
the.
mean, would he be a strong backup for Chris Paul?
It's hard to say because James Harden and Chris Paul work so great together. So when they're not on the floor together, I mean, one stays in, the other one goes out. So I mean, I guess George Hill could come in and play those reasonable minutes, but
I mean, he could still play the off guard too, to still
but
allow.
I also saw that we might have been interested in Tyreek Evans as well,
Yeah,
which is weird. That's very weird to me. Obviously, I think any point guard at this point, we have been linked to because I think we even showed interest in Jameer Nelson,
hmm
the veteran guard. So I actually don't know.
but we had other trades that happened. We had the Milwaukee Bucks acquire Cody Zeller, uh, making a trade with the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets received Rashad Vaughn and a 2018 second round pick.
Which is interesting that they gave up on him so early.
Yeah, but I think that can possibly help out the Bucks. I mean, the Bucks definitely need to turn it around because their window of opportunities is closing fast, and they're gonna end up losing Giannis in free agency. So
I mean, he's dunking over people, so I mean, he's definitely going to be.
I know we'll talk about that after we finish up the trades. The Bulls trade Mirotic for Amir Ashik, Tony Allen, Jameer Nelson, trade exception, and a 2018 first round pick protected to the
interesting,
Pelicans.
interesting that they get Omer Ashik back,
Yeah,
as well as it's interesting that they didn't trade Bobby Portis, but they chose to trade Mirotic.
I mean, obviously, it was the person who banned up and got stole was the person
Oh,
who got dealt.
now his pride is straight swole.
Exactly.
Um,
Then we also, of course, had the Blake Griffin trade, which happened last
with
week,
they're 5-0 since that trade.
and they've been 5-0, which is awesome.
That is awesome. Um, does DeAndre Jordan get moved?
Absolutely, it's gonna happen.
As I
It
mentioned
may
earlier,
actually happen as we're on the show right now.
I'm actually happy that the Clippers chose this to keep Lou Williams. I think that was smart. I think it's time. It's tied. It's tiring to see him continue to get moved.
Yes.
I didn't want to get rid of him from Houston. I just know it had to go. He had to go because of the moves that need to be made. But I would have loved to have kept him in Houston. And you know, but I mean, I'm happy with the team that we have. I really am.
I think you should be. Oh, and the Knicks are reportedly trying to get Alfred Payton from the Magic because the
I
Magic is basically having a dumpster fire sale.
I did see that. which means that they'll be looking to take on those contracts, those expiring contracts,
Hmm.
which could mean great for a Joakim Noah trade.
Yep. Which I think that will end up being the deal. I think it would be Joakim Noah and possibly one of those picks they just acquired for Mr. Payton.
Which what happened to your rookie point guard? Is he coming back anytime this season?
What do you mean?
Mm,
You mean
did he?
Nicola?
Yeah,
Yeah.
is he hurt still?
No. No, he's
Oh, he's
playing.
playing.
Yeah, he's playing.
Oh goodness, and I guess that's why it's so weird because I know they picked up that point guard, for free agency, and I felt like
Trey Young.
every time I no, not Trey Young.
Not Trey Young. Oh my gosh, because everyone keep talking about Trey Young. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they are talking about Trey Young very much so. Um, you know, every time I turn on TV, he's there. That's the only reason I mentioned it. Um,
No, he comes off the bench.
he comes off the bench. How is the rookie doing?
Trey Burke.
Burke. How is the rookie doing?
I mean, they're playing. Okay, so here it is about my Knicks, and KP talked about this prior to his injury, which was, devastating for all of New York Knick Nation. I almost cried a little bit, but, it's just the way that the game is.
Sure.
But he mentioned how the team cannot close out games. That's their one biggest weakness. They can play, 3.5 quarters and either be leading or, stay neck and neck with the team. And that last 5 minutes of the game, they just blow it away.
Mm.
But Trey Burke comes in, him and Michael Beasley comes in, and they provide some solid minutes. They score. They provide some defense as well too. I mean, I like what Trey Burke was able to do. He has a pretty solid jump shot. He definitely slashed to the basket a lot too, which of course I love. You don't have to always take threes. And they get on the break. They get on the break. They're just as dangerous as any LeBron James type of team.
Wow. And Hernan Gomez couldn't fit into that rotation right there.
Hernan Gomez just couldn't get any burn because he's third on the depth chart for center. Because we have Ernest Cantor starting, and then his backup is Kyle Quinn, and then it's Herman Gomez.
They probably should have got rid of Kyle O'Quinn then, even though he's a gritty guy.
Thank you.
I like him. I like O'Quinn. He's gritty.
As long as they don't trade Doug McDermott, I'm fine.
Douglas McDermott. Is he playing the 3 still?
He's still playing the 3. So in my mind right now, they can make some noise by having McBuckets play the 3, Beasley play the 4, while KP is out. Cantor at the 5. That could be a pretty dangerous combination right there.
Well, see, when KP went down, I probably would have nixed the Hernan Gomez trade.
Yeah, but it literally happened like hours after the freaking injury happened too.
I would have been like,
so that's more
cancel.
on the owner.
That's a joke. It was a joke. It wasn't really
that's
a
on
trade.
the owner. That's on the owner.
Who,
But
Dolan?
Of course it's Dolan.
Oh, he's the worst.
Of course it's Dolan. I didn't even know we had Isaiah Hicks from NC, from the Tar Heels on the team.
Yes.
I didn't even know that.
I didn't know that either. The center? Is he the center?
Well, the forward. They have him as forward, but yeah.
Interesting.
He's only 6'8". Wait, what do you mean center?
Who's the center? Oh, being a Dookie fan, I don't really know who you're talking about.
The shade! But I could, so everyone's already writing off the New York Knicks. They're not playoff bound. They're going to be a lottery team. I think we could still make some noise. It's just the way, Hornacek is going to collaborate the team. But
I can't believe you just said that.
That's what everyone else is calling him. That's what they call him. Oh my goodness. They call him Hardy.
He should be fired right
He
now.
should be fired. Actually, it's a high possibility he might get fired. It depends on who they're trying to bring in as well too. But right now, I just want to stick with the coach that we have right now and hope he can make the right moves to put us in positions to win. That's all I can hope for right now.
Clearly, it'll be Jason Kidd.
No, it will not be Jason Kidd. No. No.
God. So, I guess with these trades, I mean, obviously DeAndre being a big name, whatever the Cavs decide to do overnight while we're sleeping. Um, I'm hoping that the Rockets stay put. I don't think we really need to do much. I could see us bringing in a backup point guard just in case. As I've seen, James Harden and Chris Paul miss games due to injury.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like Eric Gordon, who's injured now, could also, play that position if necessary. I mean, but if we did bring in George Hill, it would make sense for the Kings to unload him because, they have some young guards themselves. And, they need to let him rock.
And I'd be totally. In fact, I think getting George Hill will help you out definitely in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Playoffs. I mean, you got to be hungry. Yeah. He can shoot the three. He can shoot the three with some consistency.
He can shoot it really consistently.
Yeah, so I mean,
he's a spot up shooter. He can't make his own 3-point shot, but
we don't need somebody to make their own 3-point shot.
Exactly.
I don't think anybody on the Rockets makes their own 3-point shot except for James Harden
and CP3.
Sometimes it's always weird seeing him roll up and do it and just pull up and do a 3-point shot. Because you're like, oh, he can take him. He can take him. He shot it.
Yep.
Oh, and he made it. But when James does it, it's like, I really feel like James has a higher percentage of making a three off the dribble. But wow, yeah.
We definitely got to see what happens as the deadline approaches at 3 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow, Thursday, February 8th, 2018.
It's going to be interesting. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it, and hopefully a team gets better.
Absolutely. Now, before we go into our final thoughts, we do have an upset alert, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Apparently, there is a storm brewing, and I mean Red Storm, as the St. John's Red Storm upset number 1, Villanova. 79-75 at the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia tonight.
Well, this is what I'm going to tell you. They're high off their win over my Dukies.
Yes, they are.
But they beat us over the weekend. And I'll say that, they're a pretty solid team. I mean, they came in, they played pretty well. They made some big shots, and they played pretty solid defense. So, I mean, take them for granted and
get burned.
You get burned, yeah. Storm coming.
But what makes this one really interesting is the fact that this is their first win over a number 1 ranked team since '85, since the year a doctor was born.
Wow. I mean, Chris Mullin really has them playing over there.
Yeah. I mean, if they keep up this kind of pace, they could definitely make some noise out there, during the madness, and I don't mean macho friend.
And it's coming up, and I can't wait for it this year. It's going to be interesting. I know Debate Amongst Friends will definitely do their own bracket again, like we did last year.
Oh, absolutely. That was fun.
Hopefully we'll have more people this year, I guess.
Yeah, this is true. We'll definitely have to get Duke, J. Rich, Mac, get everyone in there.
Senor. I hate October.
You did not just... Nope. Helen, get over here. Put the $5 in, sir. Nope. Put the $5 in.
Night off. You can't do that. You gave her the night off.
No.
You can't
I grabbed her.
That.
I already grabbed her glass. Put the $5 in there. Put it in there.
I don't have $5. I thought she was gone, so
I can't believe you called out him. Why did you call him out like that, though? Oh my gosh!
I didn't call him out. I just said, "Hey, senor." I hate October.
Anywho, sir, what are your final thoughts for this week?
So my final thoughts for this week. Obviously, we had National Signing Day today, where we have top 5 signing classes. Georgia,
Georgia,
although they lost in the national championship, they still got the number 1 recruiting class. At number 2, you had Ohio State.
Hmm.
Number 3, Texas. Number 4, Penn State. And number 5, Clemson. Some of the other notable teams falling out: Alabama, Miami, USC, Notre Dame, and Oklahoma falling. Wow, I can't believe doing that. Falling within the top 10. Surprised to see Alabama falling outside of the top 5. That's Dead or Alive, and that's his F1 LP. But, I'm pretty surprised to see Alabama fall out, and maybe they would have gotten it had a certain wide receiver chosen to go to their team over the Florida Gators. And that was my other final thought, as 4-star recruit had his dreams shattered almost by his mom. Jacob Copeland of Florida committed to Florida, although his mom wished that he would have went to either Tennessee or Alabama. I imagine they were the ones who were offering her the most money.
Camden.
So I think that it's interesting to see, and hopefully they resolve that issue. Your final thoughts, sir?
My final thoughts. So, I have a few things to talk about, actually. The first one is a report about Phil Brooks, also known as CM Punk,
Wow.
potentially having his next UFC fight. Yes, he has not given up on the UFC.
I don't know.
Or in June for UFC 225 against Mike Jackson, not Michael Jackson, Mike Jackson. So that is currently still in the negotiation phases. So as that fight is coming to terms and as it gets closer, we'll definitely try to cover that as much as we can. So big shout outs to him. In other news, going into the fighting game community / esports or competitive gaming. Evolution 2018 had their reveal of the games going to be played this year out in Las Vegas in August. It's not going to be in July, so August this year. And we do not have a Marvel game, a Marvel vs. game in Evolution 2018. This is the first time this happened in a while, actually. I thought it was since the beginning, but apparently it has not happened before. They said around the time that Street Fighter 4 first came out, but I haven't done enough research to confirm that. But the 8 games that are going to be played this year are Street Fighter 5, the Arcade Edition, which is the newest patch that is just released. So I believe by the time that game comes out, some of the DLC characters will be available. We currently still only have Sakura first. I can't wait to actually see Cody in action.
And the dot.
I see what you did there. I can't wait to see Cody in action, as well as G, the mysterious President Lincoln type character. Would just love to see how they both play. Tekken 7, one of the games that the doc really enjoyed watching the finals of last year. Injustice 2, with the inclusion of the new DLC characters, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They just dropped the reveal trailer for that as well too the other day. It was actually quite awesome to watch, to see the intricate method of incorporating all 4 turtles into combat at once. They will come out with more details with how that's going to come out, and once they have that, I'll probably put that as a final thought for that. We have a new game. It was a game that was premiered last year for demoing. It is Dragon Ball Fighter Z. So that's going to make its first appearance as an actual playable game for tournament play in Evolution 2018 this year. Last year's Evolution was a demo, and they had a small tournament for it as well too. We had a chance to meet up with some people there, including Maximilian, And Xavier Woods, in which the doctor said, I didn't know Xavier Woods was that buffed in real life.
Right.
We also have Guilty Gear.
Oh. Sorry.
Making his way back into it as well. Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle.
Oh my god, no.
Ladies and gentlemen, I kind of wish I had the doctor watching the reveal and we could record his reactions to this. Because I think that would have been perfect television.
That game freaking sucks.
Super Smash Brother for the Wii U, or Smash 4, making its return back, which was the game that was played on Sunday, in which the gentleman who won did the fist raise after he won it. And the final game, making its return, and it is acting like Matt Hardy because it'll never die. Super Smash Brothers Melee.
That's the one where Hungry Box won before, right?
That was the one that Hungry Box won before, and he was the topic of the... Well, no, he wasn't the runner-up. He didn't make it to the grand finals.
Oh. Was that the coaching one?
Yes. He was the product of the controversy involving coaching. The coaches coming up on stage, which is a big no-no in tournament play. At least at Evolution.
So I guess when you go up there, I got to make sure I don't try to coach you.
Wow. That being said, the games that will be premiered on Sunday, so this is the arena for the grand finals on Sunday instead of Saturday, we will have the marquee game, which is going to be Street Fighter V AE Arcade Edition, Tekken 7, Dragon Ball FighterZ, because that is still the newest game, so it doesn't make sense for them not to show that. Guilty Gear.
Oh, boo.
And making its return back to the grand stage on Sunday, we will have Super Smash Brothers Melee.
That's better.
So Smash 4 will not be on Sunday. It'll have its grand finals on Saturday.
Interesting.
So I can't wait for more information as it comes along. But it looks like it's definitely going to be quite the tournament this year. Unfortunately, Doc and I will not be able to attend this year because we will have other engagements.
But I think you'll be there to actually participate in the tournament, so it'll be a little different.
Well, I'm not going to be there at all, so.
I think you'll be there.
Anywho, so the last two I have, there's two birthday shout-outs I want to give. The first one is to Nujabes, who of course passed away back in 2010, but today is his birthday, and you know, for myself, Nujabes has such a great influence for me to re-engage the love of music by itself, because of his great mixings of jazz and hip-hop to come up with some awesome tracks, most notably from the soundtrack of the anime series Samurai Champloo, as well as having a lot of collaborations with artists like Nujabes, and you know, Umiya Hiroto, and so forth. So just wanted to give him a special birthday shout outs to him. It's been 8 years, but his influence still lives on. In fact, people now call a lot of the music that's been influenced by him, I believe it's called Nujabes, Nuja Beats, or something like that. So that's my first birthday shout out. My other birthday shout out is to Sister Gotti, the oldest sister, whose birthday is tomorrow. I'm not gonna say how old she'll be, but you know, if she's hearing this right now, definitely know that John Gotti's thinking of you.
Oh gee. Oh gee.
Oh goodness. Tonight's track, ladies and gentlemen, because the Doc is having one of his moments, is from Atmosphere. Can't believe you said "OG." I'm really salty right now that you said "OG." I can't believe you said that.
You set the world up.
I know you did. I know I did. But they are a hip hop duo who provides certain beats. Had a chance to listen to them on Chill Hop Records. and found one of their tracks called Like a Fire from their album Fishing Blues back in 2016. We put the description and where you can find their information, listen to the video, be able to watch the video, links to their SoundCloud pages, their Twitter accounts, Facebook, their entire social media. So make sure you go out there and support them. But their track, like I said, is Like a Fire. We definitely hope that you enjoy it. But Doctor, we are now at Endgame. Anything else you want to tell the people before we bid them adieu?
No, everything is actually pretty good. I feel pretty good about the show. Think that, yeah, think we did our thing.
Yeah, man. But we want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. Like always, we're here to provide you our insights, our facts, our point of views, our reads. Look forward to all of our other shows that we have going. Duke It Out, which is every other Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as well as Marking Out Amongst Friends, which is occurring some Thursdays within a month. So, you know, as always, definitely check out those other two shows as well too. Follow the Debates Among Friends Facebook page, the Debates Among Friends Twitter account at Debates Among Fra. Check out our Instagram account as well too. SoundCloud. You can watch us on YouTube and on Twitch. And if you're the person on the go and you want to listen to it as you're driving to work, be sure to download our podcast on every and all podcast app. Just type in Debate Amongst Friends and you can find us and you can enjoy the sounds of the doc and the ever-growing monotone of the professor.
Wow.
But thank you very much for tuning in tonight. I am the Professor John Gotti.
And this is Dr. Wednesday Night himself.
And we'll catch you again next time, folks. Same podcast time, same podcast channel. Peace and love.
Taste the ocean.
LESG.
Recording. It's like, hi, this is a recording. And then
I was born on the rug made of dogs playing poker. Shoulda never let me cross your border. Sock full of quarters, lost on the corner. Not too high, but I'm not too sober. I filled it up just to spill the cup. Better fix your bridges, they still corrupt. My dreams are vivid, I don't wish for wishes. You know nobody that beats the business. And I don't even miss when it was all so simple. Sick off the vino, kicking out the window. Sometimes life's like a card game war. Hide a couple knives in the silverware drawer. Loot like a cop, then deploy the troops. Got heavy artillery, shoot from the rooftop. She can't see me when I move through the nuance. What, so what you want? Huh? Run wild like a man on fire. Get live like a roof on fire. Make love like a world on fire. Burn out like a fire. Run wild like a man on fire. Get live like a roof on fire. Make love like a world on fire. Burn out like a fire. I figured out that you're fraudulent. I hope you feel that that's a compliment. Cause you've been hollering the phony rhetoric for a minute. We ought to give you a ribbon for the commitment. It's no squabble, salute. I raise my bottle to the fact that you found a few fools to follow. We live for the now cause there ain't no tomorrow. But my mixtape still needs an outro. And you can mark these words with a Sharpie. We make party as long as there's a heartbeat. I'm like a Harley, you're like a Hardly. Get behind me, Satan, you can't harm me. I'm not scared of the flood, square it up. When Armageddon come, I turn the stereo up. Making love in the back of an American truck. Bust a nut, jump up and hit the air horn button. What? Run wild like a man on fire. Get loud lives like a roof on fire. Make love like a world on fire. Burn out like a fire. Live out like a man on fire. Get live like a roof on fire. Make love like a world on fire. Burn out like a fire.
Bum. 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 Bum.